It comes out Tuesday.
Does.
Your book.
Yes.
So does this.
Cool.
So the book is, as we talk about this book, they can go get this book and read along.
Is it going to be available in audio form too?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Yes, we did.
Both of you?
Yep.
Yes, we did.
That's amazing. So the book is called Chasing Evil. I didn't turn around to read it. I read it. I read the book. I don't do homework. I am notorious for not doing homework. I don't want to do homework. I didn't finish high school. I never did homework.
Wow.
John, my buddy here, called me like a month ago and says, I got a book coming out. I didn't really understand what the book would be. These written books, what more is there to say about the other side? He says, I would love to come on and promote it here. I said, I chase him I would love him to be the only guest we have.
Wow. High praise.
It is high praise because I think in this business of mediumship and psychic, it's so controversial and so polarizing that people want to listen, they want to debunk, they want to reach out, they want to, and all of the above, and so do I. And I got to tell you, and before we even start this, I, like you, Bob, like I read in the book, was a skeptic of the whole.
All of it, yeah.
Of the ability to even, once you're dead, you're dead. Once you're gone, you're gone.
Got it.
And there's been only a couple, I've talked to a lot, but only a couple, and on the top of my list is John Edward, that have come up with so much, and I talked to Bob, I'm all over the place because I can't tell you how excited I am about this book, about what you're about to hear. But Bob is a former New York City cop, FBI, polygrapher?
Polygraph examiner. Polygrapher is fine, but...
Polygraphy? Polygraphy is the
Like
ability.
calligraphy?
It's like calligraphy,
Like
but
calligraphy.
you could write
To
down
lie.
liar in a beautiful font.
Yes, there you are.
Right. But he
a new
was
one.
also like me when I read it, he was also like equally the skeptic. So much so that on the beat, on his drive into Manhattan each and every morning, as a young John Edward was making a name for himself and being the guest of honor on every hot radio show in New York. So he was always on because it's fascinating.
Just one radio show.
Many times.
Many times though.
Right.
Why are you taking away from yourself?
Sorry, it's just facts matter. I don't know. Facts matter.
You need a publicist. You really need a publicist. Don't take away from yourself. You were hot. People, it was the #1 radio show, wasn't it?
It was a top radio show. It was WPLJ with Scott and Todd in the morning.
There you go. He would hear it on the radio. He'd hear you talking and go, I'm going to turn this shit off.
100%.
This is a waste of time. This is waste of time. So just to give people a sense of who this guy was, he was a real cop. Just the facts. My son's in. Apparently, my close-up doesn't look great. Hang on.
Well, I'd imagine when you're in your line of work, the training that goes into it is all about working based on facts and evidence you have so that you could present that later on in a courtroom, right? So
100%.
everything has to be fact-based that then you can present.
That's right.
And have something behind it.
Which is probably the most frustrating part of that job, because sometimes if you know, you know.
Yeah, knowing something and proving it are often two different things. And from an investigator's perspective, that's the frustrating part of the job. When you know this is what happened, but you don't have enough to prove it. That's very difficult at times.
And this is the part that made me mad in the book. I love John. I love what he does. I believe in everything you do. I'm telling you, I've talked to so many, and you hit, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but you hit so many points that there's no other reason but you being able to communicate or feel the energy or being led from the other side. There's no other possibility, because you want to think, oh, coincidence. Oh, he said something to me and maybe you could have Googled it. You have given such specific messages and signs that there is no other way but the fact that you are actually communicating.
But I think that if you do this work like that, that is the important thing in order to give credence and credibility. And I think over the 40 years now of doing it, like I've come across so many people in all the decades that they don't push. They have the ability, but they don't push themselves for the information, the details. And sometimes it comes across performative.
Okay. But, and to your point, you say that a lot of people, and that's how you found out that you could do it. You know, you didn't know you can do it. You weren't open. What? Go ahead. My son.
No, just go.
Other people see my son, right?
Yes, we all see.
Okay, good. Are you fixed? Are we ready to shoot the show?
Yep, everything looks great.
There you go. Hey, and if you're picking up anything, and I know that when you're doing an interview, it's a different thing, but I want to, listeners, if things happen in the moment, because I'm fascinated by, somebody.
I'll come back and we'll do that another day.
You're so all over the place. Let's focus. How, like, the book, how did you guys get to, I wanted to know. Okay, whatever. You do you.
No, okay, go ahead.
You go on your stream. I'm trying to bring you back to your stream of consciousness where you were going.
But I want to set this up so that people don't turn away. In talking to John all the time, I always said, like, because you think of a medium, have you ever solved any cases? Do you ever see medium? And he goes, I don't do that. He said that to me umpteen times. I don't do that. And then I start reading this book, and I go, excuse my language, but fuck. Are you kidding me? Not only does he do it, or has he been involved, but these are all incredible cases that anybody listening, watching, wherever you're doing this, you've read about these cases. You've read about these cases. You know the details of these cases. And now we have the cop, the agent, the detective that solved some of these cases, that found these bodies, that found the answers to these questions. And you realize, how did he do that? With the help of John Edward. So it's fascinating that you would, number one, stay behind the scenes. Number two, young man, Bob, that you would open up your mind and receive this. And I say that to people, the one aspect of life that I want everybody to I think the most important thing is to listen.
Yeah.
And the fact that you listened, even beyond your however you're raised, whatever you do, you listened and you were open to these messages, took these messages, remembered these messages, and when these messages came to light, oh my God, I found the victim. Oh my God, I found the perpetrator. Oh my God. And there are so many cases. So let's start with, I'll start with the first one, John Smith. John Smith is a convicted serial killer. You can go Google him. That's the other thing, And I would imagine that the FBI had to look at this book before it was allowed to be published.
They did. 9 months it took them.
9 months.
We could have had a child in the time it took them to approve this book.
No, you're not allowed to impregnate yourself with the FBI.
Yeah.
Howie Mandel here. You know what drives me crazy? These so-called premium pickleball paddles that cost a fortune and break if you look at them wrong. Cheap materials, flimsy build. It's like buying a designer shirt made out of tissue paper. But 11624 Pickleball is doing things differently. 11624 paddles are built with real carbon fiber composite. They're tough, powerful, and made to last. If you're tired of overpriced, boring, and breakable paddles, head to 11six24.com and use the code Howie for 10% off. So all these are facts. So there's this guy, John Smith, and this is what's amazing. So just being open, and we all have this, and you, John, you talk about this all the time, that we have not the ability to be as clear as you are.
Right, but everybody's psychic. Everybody's intuitive. Everybody's intuitive, and they should pay attention to their intuition. And I think that's what Bob does, and what makes him an amazing, amazing investigator.
So you were in the same room as John Smith. He was in the bureau saying his wife had disappeared. How did you first come in contact with this guy?
So I started as a police officer in Jersey, and in 1991, October 4th, he came in about 10 o'clock at night and reported his wife missing. I was a young cop. I did not work the case, but that was how I became familiar with the case. He comes and says she's missing. As the initial investigators look at this case, it is very evident from the circumstances that something nefarious happened to her, likely by his hand. They discover that, lo and behold, this same guy was married to another woman in 1974 who disappeared in a very similar fashion. So now they got one guy married to two women, both disappeared. No body was recovered in either case. Circumstantial case was very compelling, but because of the lack of physical evidence, it went nowhere. I left the department, went to the FBI. I'm working in New York in 97, 98. On a cold case homicide squad, working mob cases, that kind of thing. And one day I go back to my old apartment, bump into the detective who had the case. I see the old files, and I say, whatever happened to that? He said, it's dead in the water. So I said, well, look, I'm with the Bureau now. You know, I've got more resources, a lot of people with experience. Maybe we could take a look at this. So that was how I got involved in this case in 98, actually.
But here's, I think what I was aiming at is you talk in the book about seeing the guy across the room
100%.
and getting a feeling. And I think we all get that. You know, you go, oh my God, this is not a good person. Oh my God, this is dark, or this doesn't feel good, or this house doesn't feel good, or something. Yeah. So these are the energies that we get that we 99.9% ignore.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think, well, as a matter of fact, we were talking about this last night. I mean, you know, in our everyday life, we bump into people and there's something about your interaction with them that draws your attention. And that was what I experienced when I saw him when he came into the department. It was just, he was memorable to me.
Because?
He had this quiet affect, and it was like what you saw with that guy was not the real guy. It was like watching somebody wear a mask. It's what it felt like.
Evil?
I guess you could call it that. I mean, I didn't understand it at that point. I just, in looking back now, many years later, perhaps that's what it was.
Well, he is.
Yeah,
killed everybody.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's right.
So then, John, you're doing your show. You haven't even done your television show yet.
Not yet.
What made you go to John? What made you even reach out?
Well, to your point, I kept hearing him on the radio, and I was shocked by the fact that how could people even believe such a thing is real? And I would shut the radio off, and I would hear him a few weeks later, and what I was hearing was illogical. It was stupid. It felt like the Jerky Boys to me. If you remember the old guys who would
I love the Jerky Boys.
Yeah,
prank calls.
But I always say, how could people be so stupid as to think these guys are legitimate? And that's kind of the feeling I had. And finally, you know, this particular case, the John Smith case, there were no necessarily leads that were missed. The investigators didn't necessarily drop the ball. Cases are cold for a reason sometimes because they've run everything to ground. So I thought to myself, well, I want to contact this guy. And it was a particular morning. And I went to either prove to myself that he was a con, or worst case, he wasn't, and he could be of some kind of benefit. So that was the premise by which I went to see him.
And so tell me, how do you prepare to go see John?
So his assistant called me the following week, I believe it was, and said, can you come tomorrow? And
so the assistant gets a call from the FBI or from the New York cop?
From me. I called the assistant, and I just said, my name is Bob. I work for the FBI in New York. I heard this guy on the radio. He claims he could connect to people on the other side. Well, I've got a case. I'm looking for a missing person. I want to put him on the phone with the family members. He can do his thing, and maybe he can help me. That was all they knew. And I could hear some hesitation in his assistant's voice at the time. And she said, well, he doesn't really do this, but I'll talk to him. And it was about a week, maybe 2 weeks later, she calls me and said, hey, John says, can you come tomorrow?
So before that, you get a call, your assistant comes to you, John, and says there's FBI, because I asked you, I said, do you do this? You said, I don't do this. Why did you take this call?
There was an urgency in how the message was delivered to me. So I don't know. I feel like there was this sense of duty. I don't know. I had this, I guess, I mean, we talk about it in the book as we go through to the end of the story of like maybe early on, what was the trigger for me to do this? And I think it has to do with my dad being a New York City cop. And
yeah, I learned that too. Your dad is a New York City cop. Your name, John Edward, is just your first and second name because he doesn't even want you to use his name. He doesn't want to sully the family name
correct.
With this silliness of being a psychic.
So before I officially became John Edward, the only time that I was ever called John Edward was from my mother when I was in trouble. So I kind of felt like, well, if I'm going to be doing this publicly and professionally, I'm going to be, you know, called out for things. I'm used to hearing that, so it should be fine. And plus, it kept the name in my vibration. I mean, now it's officially my name, but yeah, my dad didn't want me using his name. Do not sully your name, and don't let me find out that
What is your real last name?
McGee.
McGee. So right now, Mr. McGee, and I believe it, is listening and watching and is very proud.
Yeah, because he's now in a realm where I can communicate with him.
You can communicate.
Right.
And are you saying I told you so?
No, actually, I think the I told you so's are never useful when it comes to people who have passed. I think the I told you so's are much more useful when it comes to the mirror, because the self-acceptance and understanding of something that we've accomplished or done we can be the only person to applaud our actions. We shouldn't be looking to externalize our grief. We shouldn't be looking to externalize our accolades. And I think for me, working with Bob, the journey for me in Chasing Evil was recognizing, number one, that I didn't know that I was on some level seeking patriarchal acceptance, that I didn't know I needed it, because to me, I did the work. You know, I did the work on understanding my upbringing. I knew that he had an issue with an alcohol problem. I knew what the issues were with my parents. I was able to see very clearly that there was a codependence there. And I went no contact when I got older after my mom died. I was like, nope, this is not healthy for me. I did the work. I created the boundaries. I understood the energy. I knew the astrology of it. Like, I was good. And then the universe went, are you though? Are you really good? Okay, so we're going to send in this guy. And
who also has a very similar upbringing and a very similar relationship with his father. You learn in the book, because this is not only a book of cases and death and evil, and you will just be blown away. And this is what I loved about the book. I end up loving you guys, and I end up saying, I was just asking your manager there, like, you guys, it's a movie. They should get the movie rights, because you're an unlikely pair, but you are very, very similar. And the way you came at it, it's an amazing story.
But we didn't know any of that in the beginning. That was the transformation in the journey. Like, he approached me like any other case, and I approached him like every other reading.
Had you never gotten cops calling you before?
Not like directly. Like, I had one case where I did a reading for a family, and there was a homicide in Florida, and I gave information to the family, and the mom of one of the victims said, "That's not true. That's not true." And I'm like, "Ma'am, I can only tell you what I'm being shown." She goes, "Well, I'm going to go tell the investigators on the case." I said, "Okay." And the next morning, the investigators called me and they said, only somebody at the crime scene would know what you told them, and that information has not been revealed to the family or the press because it's an active investigation. So they flew up to New York to actually talk to me. So that was one example. There were a couple of other sporadic moments where stuff like this happened, but we're talking like 0.5% of 100 of where my attention was focused. I legitimately didn't want to ever have to deal with my father saying, you know, I told you not to do that. You have a respect for the uniform. And he wore a double uniform. He was a police officer. He was a military guy. You know, that was the place that he came from.
And he made fun of psychics. He said that the body's always near the water. The body's always near a tree. The earth is 90% water. So,
yeah,
you know, but so, okay, he calls you. What do you do? So you say, okay, he shows up. And what did you do, Bob?
So I was told to bring some belongings or artifacts related to the victim we were looking for. Her name, the Jersey victim, her name was Fran, Betty Fran. So I contacted the detective. He brought, I think there were 5 objects, but I think we met at about 3:30. I know it was 3:30. And that morning,
why?
That I just remember. And anyway, that morning,
just the facts.
That morning, I went around my office to 4 different women, and I would say, "Hey, let me borrow your necklace. Let me borrow." And we would call them control items, and put them in the mix with these belongings. And so I went to his office. I vividly remember it. It looked like a doctor's office. It had like a waiting room, and his assistant said, "John is finishing up with some clients in the back." And I remember the door opening, and I saw this young white couple with a girl I assume was their daughter, and all 3 of them had been crying. And out behind them walks this little guy that reminded me of Harry Potter at the time.
Okay, can we just say, when we talk about little guy, can we just give context? For the people listening or watching, he's 6'8". This guy's 6'8".
But I do see the Harry Potter reference.
Yeah. So
if you saw the glasses, you would see that too.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, it further entrenched my position that, man, this guy's exploiting grief of these family members. And I remember vividly that this SOB, right? And he invites us in, and he explains what he does, and he says, "In a minute here when I get started."
You're with another cop?
A detective from Jersey.
Okay.
Right. So
who does believe?
He was all in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And just to add in, the reason why I would ask for stuff is when I would sit with a client, you know, one-on-one in person, I would do something called psychometry. And psychometry is where you hold on to an object of a person, and you could read either the energy of the object, which is objective psychometry, or you could do subjective psychometry, where you would connect with the energy of the person. So I would always tell clients, and I still say it to this day, never give a medium an artifact or an item of someone who's passed, like a photo or jewelry, because you can actually pick up vibrations and energy about the person, and it can sound like you're actually making a connection, when you're not. You're just basically reading the energy of that. So I wanted to not make a connection with the person who had passed. I wanted to make a connection with the energy of the story that he was bringing to me. And that's why I wanted the objects. So psychometry would help me do that, tune into her.
So you have placebo little things that
Control
are
items, right?
control items,
Right.
things
So-
that aren't real,
right,
that-
but you-
to prove to you.
Well, in my mind, if he started picking up one of these control items and started claiming he was connecting to this victim, I know he's
Bullshit.
100%, right? So to me, it made logical sense. So we put these 9 objects in front of him on this desk, and if I put them before you now, you would not be able to distinguish any of the 4 or 5 as different than the others. And I vividly remember him going back and forth with his eyes and taking like a deep breath and really focusing, and he kind of put his palms facing together, and one at a time he started pulling objects out, and he put his hands over them, and he had this, like, he tilted his head and he said, I don't know what these things are, and he pushed them aside. He says, but they have nothing to do with why you're here. And those were the items that were not relevant to the case. So now when
Did
you
your
think
heart stop?
well, certainly he had my attention, right? I mean, what are the statistical probabilities of him, right, doing that? And then he proceeded to pick up a pair of eyeglasses that belonged to our victim. And the information he provided at that moment was so specific, so singular in nature, it could not be denied. He called her by her name. He said she has 2 names. It's like Betty Fran, but she goes by the second. He described physical attributes about her, the fact that she had a metal pin or rod in her hip, which was true, that
Yes.
she had breast implants, different specifics, talked about how many kids she had, where she was from. And finally he says, yeah, she's been killed, and the person responsible is either a husband or a boyfriend. It's a J name. I'm pretty sure it's John. He did not know the case.
And it hadn't been published. It
No.
wasn't. It hadn't made the papers.
No,
This
no.
is
And
all
it's- and
information that you would have.
Moreover, it's a cold case, right? The case is started in 1974. Again, and this is 1998. So this is nowhere to be found. He has no idea. And so now he's giving very specific information about this victim and John. And at some point in the mix, he asked me, who's Michael? Whose name is Michael? Well, Michael turned out to be the younger brother of John Smith.
Right.
And John, that moment, says, Michael is key to this investigation. Michael holds the information you're looking for. You need to get to Michael. Now, what was very interesting about that, you know, in educating myself on 20 years of the previous investigators' work, you know, there's what you read in the reports, but then there's things that are not captured in the reports, and you only get that by talking to these detectives over the years. And 2 or 3 of them had anecdotally said to me, you know, Bob, there's something about Michael. We just had this feeling, his affect, his mannerisms, something up. And now he comes out with, yeah, Michael holds the key to this. So now we go down this path a little bit more, and then at some point, John's whole affect and demeanor changed in the room, and this kind of caught me. He looked directly at me and he said, wait a minute, why are you really here? And he's pointing at the desk, and I'm thinking, oh man, he's picking up on the fact that I thought he was a con. And of course, I'm not going to admit that.
Right.
And I said, well, I heard you on the radio and you could do this. He said, no. Why are you here? And now this thing is about to go sideways. And he says, you have this body. I see it. It's on the side of a road. There's a wooden box. The legs are missing. He says, I see the line of police cars. I see the newspaper article, a girl in the box. And he's being very specific. And at this point, guys, neither myself nor the detective have any clue as to what he's describing. And then he comes to the self-realization. He goes, oh, wait a minute. This guy, John Smith, you're looking at, he's killed other people. The police have recovered one of his victims. You haven't made the connection yet.
See, I'm torn right now because I don't want to give away. I couldn't put down because it's fun to discover like you discovered, but it is so fucking uncanny how he picked up. So it is the woman in the box.
Right.
The name Michael was, and these are the things that actually, I'm telling you, crack the case.
Yeah.
Howie Mandel here. Food companies nowadays add sugar for taste and process the fiber out of the food for shelf life, leaving us with the sugar and the starch. Munch Munch puts that fiber back in. Munch Munch soaks up carbs and sugars like a microsponge. Simply take it within 30 minutes of a meal and let it work its magic. Act now and you get 15% off your order with the code Howie15 at munchmunch.shop.
Who's talking to you, John?
Well, in my profession, I believe that we all have a team of energies that are your spirit guides. So I was connecting with my team spirit, my team of guides that are giving me insights and guidance. And that's the difference when I'm doing psychic work, right? I'm getting information, kind of feels like the information's falling from above me down, as opposed to when I'm connecting with someone's friends and relatives, where it feels like it's coming from around them. So it feels like I can differentiate that.
Who are these guides?
We'll just call them energies and spirit, because they're not people that I've known in this lifetime.
But they're always the same people?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, any message you get
Just
comes
think like
through.
think like you have teachers in school.
Yeah.
We have teachers in spirit, and their job is to help give us guidance and teach.
Do you feel a relationship to them now? Do you give them names?
I've had a relationship with them since I'm 15, so I've never felt like I was alone.
So they give you information that
Right. So the way that I get the information from them would be the same way you would get the information from them, except I've just worked at it for a really, really long time to be able to discern the difference of what I'm seeing, hearing, and feeling rather than what I think I'm thinking. So I'm reacting to this external stimuli like a download. Like I feel like this is what's being imprinted upon me, and I'm paying attention to that.
But the specifics are what's uncanny. Like, do
That
they
comes over
say
years. That comes over the years of doing
there's
it.
a girl in a box that's had her legs cut off?
A lot of it comes through like with symbolism, so it's not language. And I think I think one of the issues that I like to convey to people, that if anybody's developing their abilities, like you want to recognize how it comes across. So if somebody's deaf and they're communicating, they're going to communicate in a symbolic form. They're going to communicate in sign language. Sign language does not translate immediately verbatim to English. There's an interpretation. So whatever I would be seeing, hearing, and feeling, I'm going to find my words to explain to Bob how I'm getting this. Like, what is it that I'm seeing? Why is it that I'm seeing this? What is it that I'm feeling? How am I feeling this? This is making me, I'm seeing this, I'm hearing this. And then you kind of put all of that together to symbolically explain what that is. And the cool thing about Bob is that he gave nothing. Like he allowed me to have a blank canvas to kind of put it all out there.
Go ahead.
What do you have to do next? Because I know then you can't just be like, okay, now I believe it. That's amazing. I'm going to go look into the girl in the box and then connect them somehow. Like you have to have probable cause or find reasons as to why you're connecting these people and looking for these things. And when you make your argument, it can't just be that he told you, right? Like it has to be.
No, because I always told him at the beginning, I was like, I'll help you, but please keep my name like out of everything. And he would jokingly chuckle and be like, not a problem. I would like to retain my employment. So.
And also build a case, because I'd imagine you can't bring into the courtroom, or even if you can, like that's not a credible fact to bring into
So
a
John,
court.
and in all the years of work together, he never gave me evidence. He gave me direction how to get to the evidence, whether it was who to talk to, what to say in times, or signs to look for. And in other cases, sometimes the signs were these specific things that didn't make sense. Like in reference in the book, there's a soccer ball. And I go, what does a soccer ball mean? Things of that nature. So to your point, you're right. Cases are built on evidence, physical evidence, witness testimony. So John never provided me with that. He helped me to figure out where I can go to get those things.
But you know, the specifics of those signs were uncanny. Like there's a girl in a box with her legs missing, which I'm so torn because I'm so excited. I think this is the best movie in the world. But they did find the girl in the box with the legs missing. But and cops did find her. It was never connected to the John Smith case. Never connected to the John Smith case. The only way it would become connected is if Bob was open enough to search the nation for wherever something like this was retrieved and then do a DNA test on this Jane Doe. Where does he get that idea? From John. So, but just the connections have nothing to do with any of the evidence that already exists.
Well, before that point, we got to Michael, and Michael came forward, and all of a sudden now we have Michael talking to us about a box, the same box that John described. And what are the chances of that, right? So John said Michael has the keys. Michael did have the keys, and when he comes forward, he's describing a box. The whole thing lines up.
I'm also fascinated by when you reach the dead end in a road of an investigation. You got this, you know, there's a box. And you know, and he's going also against your authorities. You know, sometimes you were taken off the case. Sometimes they didn't want him to do it, but messages would come to John, and he'd have to follow up on whatever those messages were. But I guess my question is, when he's giving you ideas about strategy on how to crack a case. I'm gonna jump to another case because this is a flow and you have to read he's involved in the Michael Vick case. Do you know the Michael Vick case? So the Michael Vick case is where Michael Vick, the football player, got prosecuted for dogfighting and killing dogs and whatnot. But John, you're getting messages that he's working on this case, and this is how you're going to get a confession. Like, how is that? What is that?
We then established a rapport. Like, I became intrigued by Bob, and then I would have questions. I'd be like, "Hey, how's this going?" And then he'd be like, "Well, there's another case I'm working on, or I've got this situation that's coming up. What kind of insights can you give me here? What do you got? Like, what can I do to help?" Maybe like take this in the direction that I want it to go. How can I crack this open?
Right.
What's the thing I need to say?
And then your guides would say, if you say this, and you did the same thing with Michael too. With Michael, the brother, John Smith's brother, he would tell him when he's interrogating, the spirit guides would tell them, spirit guides? What am I calling them? Spirit guides would tell you to tell Bob, with Michael Vick, just start talking about football, and that even when you think it's the end, keep talking about football, and eventually he will, or telling you what to mention to Michael, he will crack. He will bring you, and you may not know that what he is saying is really important, but I'm telling you, if you do this and you be patient and you just do you, I'm telling you. And I'm fascinated, Bob, by your belief system in not giving up, because all these paths were not directly A to B. They were.
No, you're right. I think there's that saying, every strength represents a converse weakness, right? So I was always like a dog with a bone with these cases, right? Learning how to let things go was not in my vocabulary. So that if I was a good agent, it was because I had that determination or what it was. But to your question, Howie, in the beginning of my relationship with John, the world was very black and white to me. It would think you fell into one of two categories, right? But I think what I've learned over the many years with John is to question my own assumptions and to think more broadly. And it felt to me, in the beginning of our relationship, I was just an FBI guy talking to a psychic. As we evolved, I learned how to better understand his process. I learned how to better ask him questions, because I learned that if I asked a question the wrong way, it had the tendency to shut him down. So I had to be intentional in my strategy in interviewing him, which took some time. But towards the end, it felt like we were the Rolling Stones. We would just get up there.
He's like an AI model, and you got really good at prompting.
That's a great analogy.
It was like AI, pre-AI, JE.
I had to know not just what question, but how to ask him the question. So that took some time. But over time, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
And what I found fascinating about doing this with him is that if I worked with a client and a client asked me a question like, am I going to, get married? Am I going to get that job or promotion? If I got the information once and I delivered it, it wasn't allowed to be asked again in the reading. So if a client tried to ask me any different ways to get a different answer because they didn't like what it was that I said originally, there was none of that in my practice. Like, that would never happen. So when Bob would try to do that, I would always have this instinct to go, they've already answered that. And then I would get additional information. So for me, it was like, whoa, what is going on here? Why are they answering this man's questions? Like, why am I getting further information on something that I would normally not get further information on? So then I felt like, okay, well, this is a learning experience for me. Why are they doing this? And then I think that Bob and my spirit team kind of built up a rapport that I got a chance to witness, because it kind of felt like that for a while, until there was one time where you had brought other agents into the office and you didn't tell me they were on the line and I didn't get anything.
Oh yeah, but that wasn't the only time. But yeah.
Yeah, he's fucked around a couple times. But even the way the book starts, it's incredibly compelling in the sense, and it doesn't seem like he even came to you. There's this little boy, Noah. I'm not going to tell you what the outcome is, but it ain't good. But you're searching. And then you just get a random call from him. You get a random, this is the way the book opens, and goes, you just stepped over him. Go back, look for the Star Wars, go back. Did you just he was out on this case and you just got a feeling?
This was one of I think maybe the only time I was a little bit irrational with you, right?
Of all the cases we worked, I can say that was the one where I've never felt an emotional side of you until that moment. It felt like there was a sense of urgency with you that I never felt before with that case.
I had just landed at LaGuardia Airport coming back.
And
I was on tour.
You had a headache and migraine.
Yeah, and I remember getting into the car, and it was just, I couldn't get this kid out of my head. And I was like, I needed to like reach out to him. And yeah, that was an intense night. It was a sad.
So what happened? Like, so you had to reach out to him. Did you know he
compelled.
was on this case? No.
I knew that you were on the case.
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew you were on the case, and I knew that you were already out there.
Yep, for some days now. Yeah.
And I just felt this urgency that he had to go out there. And by the way, it's like what, midnight?
Yeah,
like late at night.
That was quite a dilemma for me. I thought I was going to get jammed up on that one. But
Lose your job.
For sure.
He went back. He had a feeling. He went back. I think you're not allowed to search somebody's property without proper
consent or warrant, right?
Yeah, but he had this urge to go back and try to find excuses and reasons to go back. So you're a little bit sensitive too to this energy on the other side now. Do you think he's opened up a door that you didn't have?
Perhaps, right? But by no means do I profess to be psychic or have such abilities, but I think that I've learned from him to be open about things. And, in the beginning, I would say, this is my imagination, what I'm experiencing. It's easy to logically explain things away, right? Especially if your worldview perspective is logic and reason and evidence. But over the years, things manifested and happened, and either I was going crazy or these things were real. And I can tell you now, the more they happened, the better I learned to understand, embrace, and accept those things,
Howie Mandel here. Ever feel like your brain is wading through peanut butter? That mental fog making it tough to focus and those little memory slips adding up? The good news is you don't have to resign yourself to a fuzzy brain any longer. TriNeuro Complete Brain Supplement was developed by a military veteran who's an actual neurosurgeon and neuroscientist with whole brain health in mind. For a limited time, you can get 20% off TriNeuro supplements with the code Howie20. Available at TriNeuroSupplements.com, Amazon, and VitaCost.
Wow. I'm also fascinated on sometimes the clues were kind of obtuse. They weren't obtuse when you found out what they were, but then sometimes, like the Noah case, like this little kid, he's wandering around in a rubbish pile on a hill in the mud and whatever. And John, you're so specific. The Star Wars.
X-Wing fighter.
The X-Wing fighter is going to be right by my body. It's right by you. Stepped over it. Look for that X-Wing fighter. Just to see that toy, that specific toy. He's in another state at the time,
right?
And you saw that, and that ended up being the marker for,
But that's not unusual for me. So when I'm doing a reading for someone, I'm looking for validation. I'm looking to make sure that what I'm interpreting, what I'm seeing, hearing, and feeling, I have to make sure that it's accurate. So I'm like, so you're going to see this or you're going to see that. I'll say that to a client, right? If I'm reading for somebody, I'll give them information and then I'm going to back up the information I just gave them. And sometimes I want to back up that information because I like the validation of knowing what I'm saying so I could say it confidently. I could build up a trust and rapport with what's coming through. And I think that was important for him, knowing, you see him, right? So that that has to be delivered to him when it comes from this side of the table.
But is it unusual to have that sense of urgency, to be walking through the day and just have
Yes.
someone come to you and you have to go figure out who you're giving that information to?
I'm a big advocate for anybody that's studying or developing this work.
Yeah.
You never enter someone's vibration without their consent. It is never appropriate to walk up to someone in any shape, way, or form and give them information that they did not ask you for. It doesn't matter how you strongly feel something or not. And I'll tell you why. You don't know where that person is on their journey of grief. And your intentions could be 100,000,000% positive to help them. But if they're not in the right spot to receive it, it could do more damage than good. And you have to be open in order to do this. So I'm going to choose to be closed when I'm out in the real world. Like when I'm out, if I'm on a plane, I'm going to be closed down. If I'm shopping, I'm going to be closed down. I don't want to pick up on people's energy, period.
And you can do that. You have that kind of control.
If you're a professional, you have to do that. It's not healthy not to. Because then
But I think what she's asking is, do things break? Like, you didn't know that night.
But that's
he and I-
different
but we-
because
but we have a rapport.
And he wants you to be
Correct.
open with stuff whenever it
Correct.
comes to you because it's always helping.
Right. And by the way, there are people that have given me permission, like, like you have said to me once, if you feel anything, just let me know.
I'm saying that to you now.
Right. And if I did, I have your permission and consent. So
Okay.
it wouldn't be blindsiding you. It wouldn't be coming from a place of,
But this is like a friend in another state. You don't know specifically what he's doing at that moment and that he is stepping over a body. You don't know that. That just comes to you. You make a phone call.
I would know, I think in that example, we had spoken about you
Right.
being there. And it's like, hey, if you get anything on this.
Yeah, like heads up.
And I kind of remember not initially getting anything on it. Like I remember not really feeling anything because it was a kid.
And then you were on fire that night.
And as a dad, but then all of a sudden, it's like my touring schedule was over. I landed at LaGuardia, and I was kind of consumed with having to talk to him. And he's like, dude, it's like midnight. Like, what? And I was like, no, it has to be now.
He said, if you don't go out there right now, he's not going to be found. That's what he told me.
And you just on your own, without jurisdiction, without...
Oh, I had jurisdiction. I just, it's not cool to go at midnight to the
Somebody's
parents of the missing kid and start looking around. But I had lost my wallet, and I needed to find my wallet.
No, you didn't.
I lost my wallet.
He lost his wallet,
Dad.
and he had to find his wallet.
I couldn't find it. I was looking
Credentials
for
and
it.
ID important.
Yeah, and so I needed, and I was in
But
that.
you use that as an excuse.
So
And
you
they
say,
said,
I
okay.
lost my wallet.
And they
I
permitted
read
you
the
to come back.
book.
Okay, well, you may need to read it again. I lost my wallet.
I will tell you that all these stories, these aren't just random stories, they all connect. Watching these two guys connect and then solve all these cases, and a lot of them are ones you went, holy shit, I read that in the news,
Yeah.
whether it's Michael Vick or the woman at the girl at Yale or
Yale
University. She was a couple of days away from getting married. She's a lab technician. She's a science major, and she disappeared.
It's Annie Lee.
Yeah, look at that. You can Google that. It's amazing. He goes and investigates. She disappeared. They have a video of her going into the building, going into the lab, and no video. John gets a message exactly where she is. You go there and don't see her. You go where he tells you to go,
100%.
and you don't see her.
And I
He
say,
goes, John,
You're wrong. She's not there.
you're wrong. No, and he doesn't take, or his spirit guides do not take no for an answer. She is there. You are walking by her. She's on the other side of that wall. He goes to the room on the other side. She's not there. No, she's there. I don't know if you remember. I'm not giving away anything in the book because it was in the news. She was found between the walls and the pipes.
In the pipes, yeah.
He saw that. You don't think it's amazing?
No, I do think it's amazing. I believe what he does, though. So, I mean, yes, I think it's amazing, but I do believe in all this stuff.
And were you getting like badges and honored for all this stuff that John was doing?
Was I?
Yeah.
No, but let's just say a lot of people in the FBI got accolades and awards for a lot of these cases that had nothing to do with it. Well
So
done.
what do you
Wait,
think?
do you ever though, because you're just curious, will look into a case yourself, not to tell anyone else or the parent, like the Cecil Hotel girl? That's all that. No.
No. I have this. I have a really strict code of ethics, right? If
Yeah.
somebody's not asking me, I don't look. It's like not my. There's
Do
been
you not
times-
think after
I
this
could
book
never.
you're going to get
I
flooded?
could never. I love like gossip,
But like, for example, like
drama.
I'll come home, right?
Yeah.
And Sandra's like, "Oh my God, you got to come watch this documentary." I'm like, "No,"
Yeah.
and she's like, "Why? I wonder what you think."
Yeah.
Nope. I don't want it. I don't want to.
Oh, that would suck being married to you.
The girl on the
cruise ship, the cruise ship.
He's already done a cruise ship case. One that
So
was
you
known.
can't do anymore.
One and done.
The cruise ship case. Remember that the newlyweds, and then he disappeared, and there was blood on the lifeboat, and
Don't remember that one.
I'm telling you, when you look it up, I don't remember his name. George.
George Smith.
Yeah, Smith is what I had trouble with.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Smiths in your book.
Yeah,
But you know what, Howie? Here's the interesting thing. When I'm working with a client, the people that are coming through for me, for my clients, I feel like I'm working for them. I have a passion to make sure that I get their message across to the loved ones who are sitting in front of me, so that I can let them know that they're okay and they see what's happening in your life. He's the exact same way when it comes to his dedication for the victim or the person that's missing. He's like working for them. to give them the validation.
Oh, he's
so,
like a pit bull.
Yeah, so there's a lot of similarities that we discovered in the process of 3 decades of doing this and then writing Chasing Evil.
I mean, it's really sad. It's like a personal story too. I felt upset for you. I asked you yesterday if you fucked up your marriage.
I did.
And you made a lot of people mad at you at the department.
Well, maybe
You
a
broke
few.
a lot of rules. You know,
I don't want to go on, but
it's in the book.
Did
you not read it?
I need to go back and read some of this. 'Cause
Are we re-editing today?
Well, I just think
Well,
you were doing things. You were pushing. You
Yes,
pushed.
that's fair
you
to say.
pushed the
That's
boundaries.
fair to
passionate.
say.
Don't give up.
That's fair to say.
You didn't let him give up.
That's
You
fair
would
to
go
say.
like that. He'd go. It's not
I'm
working.
equally as passionate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The two of you are like brothers. You said like twins, like that movie. That's how you described yourself in the.
And there were plenty of times also, which is good to talk about here, is that I would go to him sometimes for a case and he'd say, yeah, I got nothing on that. I'd be like, what do you mean you got nothing on that? I mean, you're John Edward. What are you talking about? Yeah, I got nothing on that. And that would be frustrating. Or I would come to talk to him about a specific case and he'd start talking to me about something else, either something that another case or a case that I had not yet worked with. And then there were times, which is not in the book, where there were lessons for me in this, where in the middle of him giving me information about these cases, there would be this pause and he says, I need to talk to you. And that was very powerful for me. It was very, holy cow. There were points of like, hey, you need to stop right now and think about this. So it was very personal for me these many years, and it was a journey. It was, it wasn't easy.
John, are you concerned now that when this book comes out tonight, I think this book is going to be, I'm going to predict, and I don't have any spirit guides, but this is a New York Times bestseller.
Okay.
You see people talking to me, teaching me?
No, I think we all have them.
Oh, well, I'm not in good communication with them. I'm having a bad connection with them. I'm going through a tunnel. Anyway, but I predict a New York Times bestseller. People are going to read this. People are going to want to take it further and exploit the book. And I see movies and things like that. Are you not concerned that your rules of the past are going to go out the window and that you're going to be contacted now by the FBI?
I'm really not, because my interest does not lie in crime solving. My interest is to work with my clients and help people evolve with where they're at. And that's not to say that these circumstances are not important, but it's like when Crossing Over was on the air and September 11th happened, there was a big executive meeting at the network about they wanted to do like special 9/11 shows. And I went, absolutely not. And they said, why not? And I said, because of October 5th, 1989. And everybody looked around the room like, what's October 5th, 1989? I said, oh, that's when my mom passed. And they were perplexed as to what my parallel was. And I said, if you want to do specific shows on September 11th, then you're saying that those passings are more significant than my mother's passing. I go, everybody's got a story, and everybody's story matters. It doesn't, just because something is a crime, it doesn't make it any less significant or more significant than somebody's grandmother who passed at 96, from old age. So my focus is going to always be to help people evolve where they're at. Now, I say this openly. He's heard me say it for years. I don't work for the FBI. I work for the BOB. Like, that's the 3-letter organization that I feel like I connected with. So for me, I feel like Bob became a teacher for me to help me stretch with my abilities. But with that stretching, it's not my focus.
Why do you spell his name backwards?
But
It's funny, Dad.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
now, I'm sure that he's going to get called, and then where he gets called, maybe he taps into me.
But that's the thing, like everything, and they all connect. This is like a story of two brothers coming together for the good of the world, for the good of people, for finding solutions and things like that.
And thank you for saying it the way you just said that, because just the way you framed that, it was important to hear.
But we delve into your lives at the same time. Like, even you talked about 9/11. He predicted 9/11. Well, I don't know that he said specifically it was that, but I don't know if you know this, but we mentioned at the beginning because Sonny played Will He Dance, and you got to watch this on YouTube because, John, you're a terrific dancer.
Oh, thank you.
But you were professional. He did ballroom dancing. That's how he met Sandra, his wife. And they were down at Ground Zero, was where the studio was at the Marriott at Ground Zero.
Yeah,
and
Sandra,
then you were
Sandra was running a competition called the Empire State Ballroom Classic.
And then they were going to do it at the top of
No, the competition was happening in the ballroom, and I had gotten a phone call from a high school friend, and I walked out of I couldn't hear, it was too loud with the music, so I walked into the lobby of the Trade Center, and after I was done with the conversation, the overwhelming negative feeling of like just literal darkness is what it felt like. I was like, ooh. So I didn't like the way the building felt. So I went back into the competition and I said to Sandra, I go, how long is this competition? Your boss, like, how long is this competition happening here? And she's like, I don't know, like 7 years. Meanwhile, she's like so distracted. She can't have this conversation with me. She was like, can you go away right now? Like I don't have time for like what you're asking me. And I was like, no, you're gonna have to move this. Like you can't keep it here. And she's like, why? I go, something negative, something really, really bad. Don't know what it is. I go, you gotta move it. And she's like, that's not up to me. She's like, they've got like a 7-year contract. It didn't matter because the building was gone as a result of that. And I was on Larry King Live the night before and did not want to fly out from New York to California. And Larry was insistent that I do it from the CNN studios in LA. And I was like, can I go to New York? Like, can I, like, why do I have to fly out to LA? And Larry was insistent, like, I need him in studio. He has to be in studio. And Larry was very, very, as you have been, very, very good to me and kind to me by having me on the show multiple times. So I went, and I had a really, really bad feeling. Like, I didn't want to fly. I was kind of depressed. I had lost a really good colleague in June of that year. And I was like at the height of like success. Like Crossing Over was doing well internationally. I had a New York Times bestseller on the nonfiction and fiction list. And Sandra literally said to me, maybe you're just one of those people. And I said, what kind of people? She's like, people that can't handle success. She's like, I think you need to get a therapist. Like, you're not okay. And I really wasn't. So I just attribute it to I was really struggling with my friend's passing because I missed her. She was like my mom's age, but we were the best of colleagues and the best of friends.
She was a psychic that you sparred with.
Her name was Shelley Peck. And
yeah, she's in the book.
Yep. She's an amazing energy that I'm sure is sitting here laughing right now going, you're not going to find Fran. You're not going to find Fran. That was her thing. But anyway, and then I went out to do Larry King on the 10th. And after the show was over, I felt better. And it was just this weird, like everything lifted off of me after I did Larry King that night. So much so that the driver that CNN sent for me, when I got in the car, she looked at me. She's like, I know who you are. And then we're driving and we're stuck in the traffic on Sunset Boulevard. And she says, and I quote, honey, are you okay? And I went, yeah, why? She's like, you don't look okay. She's like, you look sad. She's like, you sure you're gonna be okay to do this show right now? I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then I told her, I like confessed to her in the car, like this poor woman. And then I did the show. When I got in the car, she goes, well, I don't know what happened in there. She goes, but you just came out a whole lot lighter. And I went, I don't know, maybe I was just nervous to do the show. Because I do feel better. And then that night I went to bed early and woke up to.
Well, why do you think you felt better? I don't get that.
I think I felt better because that show literally helped so many people. And I know that factually by the letters that I received because it was, it aired 3 times, right? So it aired at like 9 p.m., 12, and then like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. Okay. And so many people that were in the building or on those planes watched that episode, had conversations about death, dying, and grief with their loved ones and friends before they passed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big moment for me. And it was one of those moments where I didn't want to do the show. I didn't want to fly back. I didn't want to fly out there. I didn't want to have to do that. And
that's what I find fascinating about this book, and everybody, you gotta read it. Chasing Evil is the book, and I don't read. I'm telling you, I don't read. I could not put it down. I mean, I love the relationship of the 2 guys, Harry Potter and the Jolly Green Giant. I'm saying it should be an animated series, and no, but I love that. I love what you have, but also, it's so dark, but so light and so positive. But it's all these deaths and disappearances and violence, and which is. Do you ever question humanity? Like we're evil.
I mean, yeah. I think that I have this way of looking at life, and as I try to believe in the positive side of humanity, and I want people to believe in the positive side of humanity. And I always say that if we have a little bit of light, it alleviates all the darkness. But that doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen. It's what we do with those bad things when they happen, and how do we evolve through those moments. That's kind of what I feel like my focus is, to try to help lift vibration wherever I can.
The John is away for life. Mm-hmm. John Smith, thank God. You were only able to nail him on the one murder. I know when you read it, you'll see that there's many more, but there's one that you're pretty sure of. It's Fran, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's you just kind of leaned into the fact that you had this other psychic friend, Shelley, who said she'll never be found. You believe she will be found, and you have been looking for her. And are you continue to look? Do you look for her?
Well, at this point, I'm retired. I'm on to my next career.
What's your next career?
I provide training to the next generation of guys like me, right? So I share my experiences and my knowledge with the next generation of men and women who are going to do this kind of work.
So they can find Fran.
Well, so, for me, I've learned that, hey, Fran is okay. I mean, she's on the other side. She's good. And I feel bad for her family. I would love nothing more than to make that call to them and say, hey, we got your mom, but Fran's okay. I will never lose hope that she will be found, but I can tell you she wasn't not found because I failed to look in every conceivable place. I mean, there was no stone left unturned, to the point where it made me crazy.
I know you crawl through. I won't shake hands. It's amazing what you've crawled through physically in the book.
Yes.
I'm even nervous about having you here today.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because you're filthy.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I hope you're showered and bathed and everything.
I assure you I am.
But yeah, you could bring that in. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I just got a YouTube plaque.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How cool is that?
100,000
That's beautiful.
Nice.
subscribers.
Look at that.
100,000 subscribers.
Nice, Howie.
Thank you. I wish I could have had a feeling that might happen, but I don't have your power.
But you manifested it.
Yeah, I manifested.
Good for you.
What I was going to say, this is the most fascinating book. I could not put it down. You got to read it. Chasing Evil. It's a perfect name too. There's so much evil out there. It was so depressing, so page turning, so. And the beauty of it is, listen, crime does great on TV. My wife watches ID channel all the time, and all the Datelines in 2020. Some of these stories have been covered in 2020 and Dateline, but not like this.
No.
Not from the mindset of somebody who is just this pit bull and this guide, taking a pit bull. It's like, I know in some of the stories you have the cadaver sniffing dogs, but that's what you guys are the human kind of epitome of those cadaver sniffing dogs. But
Well, we tried.
Here's what I hope, Howie. I hope that the people that read this, they may come to it because of, it's got the supernatural component. It's got the true crime component. I hope that there's a take-home message for them, that they see the transformation that Bob goes through in the book, what I go through in the book, and how we, as we're doing collectively what we're doing, that we can reflect back to them. How can they take how they're chasing evil in their lives and transform that?
I think that's that's an incredible purpose for this to be written. And the other thing that I took away from it, and I always say it, my credo is listen.
Yeah.
And it's not hearing, it's listening. I think there are signs. I think we have to be open to know that maybe the person we're sitting with isn't the best person to be sitting with, or
100%.
if somebody has a different way of thinking or a different way of communicating than you do, but maybe listen and be. We don't always have to use our voices and our ears. We have to use whoever we are to kind of perceive what's going on in the world. And you are the epitome of somebody who came from, a square box, putting a square peg into a round hole.
100%. I think the readers of the book are going to experience that. I mean, I didn't write this book to prove John is real. That's the goal of this was, I just wanted to document what happened. This is not, the motivation was not, hey, everybody, you need to believe in John Edward. These are real events that took place. They are what they are.
And it's this great meandering through a life. It's not just one case. It's many. Every case is as compelling and scary and adventuresome as the next. But at the same time, I'm reading about your lives, how your lives are changing, how difficult this is. Like a real human. It's a very identifiable if it was fiction, and it's not, it's still an amazing story of two human beings coming together and changing their and other people's lives. I think for you, it was also, John, incredibly cathartic to meet somebody that has kind of the same upbringing that you have and the issues that you each had with your father. You're so different, yet you're so much the same. And if we could all look out into this world and kind of find the similarities rather than pointing out and being afraid of differences, this would be a better world.
Yeah, I think that's all true. I also hope that when people read this book, the way it's structured, they're going to feel like they're part of the cases with us, because there's that back and forth with John on the phone that's...
it's amazing. I was so afraid here when I was talking to you because I don't want to give away.
Right.
I don't want to tell about the woman in the box.
Yeah.
But the woman in the box, that's one of the most fascinating things, who has her legs cut off and she's found. I don't want to, but I don't want to. It's amazing.
Right.
And what you do is you plant little seeds. My first paragraph in the book is Noah, and we're looking for this little boy who's in a pile of garbage, you know.
So the readers are going to feel like they are on the phone with John and I in this book. They're going to feel like
I felt I was on the case.
Yeah, 100%. But I also hope, and I just dawned on me during this interview, that the book does a good job of helping people realize the sacrifice that's involved in this, because this is a hard job, and oftentimes we get a bad rap, sometimes deserved, oftentimes not, but I think it humanizes the experience for the readers. This was not a easy career or job. I felt like, if you are chosen to do something, I think this was probably what I was supposed to do, looking back. But there's a cost to that sacrifice.
It's
a personal cost, a professional cost, and the cost of my family and my children and John as well. I mean, this is a journey we all went through together. And, you look back 30 years, if you haven't been changed or evolved, what's that Muhammad Ali quote? The man who looks at the world when he's 50 the same way he did when he was 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. I think you have to have that. And that book did that for me. It helped me go, wow, we've been through a lot, and, I'm proud of you.
John?
I'm beyond proud of him.
Okay.
And I have to say that when we talk about this project, I wanted to represent the same way when I stepped on that stage for Crossing Over. I stepped on that stage not just for me, John Edward. I stepped on it for anybody who did this work to legitimize it. I want this to humanize every person that's out there that is keeping everybody safe, who'll never get celebrated, who
100%.
never gets that acknowledgement, who's putting their life on the line so that we can be safe.
I love that. And you know what? You both deserve. I would love to give you awards. I don't have the award to give you awards. I can give you underpants. Man-made underpants. They're Canadian-made underpants. There you go.
Huh. Interesting.
Man, open them up.
Shall I?
Go ahead. Be a detective.
He looked so perplexed.
I didn't have underwear on my prediction schedule today. Lovely, very nice,
Aren't they nice?
Oh, wow.
My favorite color.
Thank you.
Keep an open mind. Anything could happen.
They
You could
got a
show up
nice-
at a podcast
They don't
and get
ride
some
up. You will
underwear.
not chafe.
They got
Nothing.
a
I just
nice
need to make sure that nobody else has
Nice
worn
what?
these. I don't want to say
They
comment for
got a-
anybody else.
They got a nice little package for the boys here, it looks like. Nice little.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it looks, it's going to be very supportive.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Brings a whole new word to undercover.
You're an athletic supporter, Howard. Thank you.
I am. I love you guys. I love what
Thanks,
you did.
Howie. Thank you.
John, I wish you nothing but the best. I also, in a little note, I'm wrapping up now. His daughter, who's an actress and been on a series, he posted her singing. She's a really good singer. So there's talent in the family, even.
And he's a judge, so he knows talent.
You know that? I'm on a show called
Yes.
America's Got Talent.
Part of it.
Yeah. You probably did some research. Why did you call me a week before this and say, John, you said, where am I sitting?
Where are you sitting?
Why is it important? You called me to say, where am I sitting?
Oh, because I wanted to know where I was projecting my energy. I wanted to visualize where I was sitting.
Oh, okay.
And I
Is it
wasn't
like
sure.
feng shui?
Kind of like energy-wise, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get to see you again if you
That's
were gonna be here, and I wasn't sure he was gonna put Bob in that side over there, and I was gonna sit like where I sat last time.
Last time you were here, I think you were somewhere, and then there was a couch full of people, right?
Yeah.
He was here when Tana was here.
Yeah. Was this good energy?
Yeah, you've got great energy, Howie.
Are you
No, I'm
lying?
saying this always.
Always. You always. I can tell you that's not true.
For him?
Yeah.
You know, she has got psychic ability, but she shuts it down because she's afraid of it.
We've talked about it.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys are great. The book is Chasing Evil, and John Edward, Robert Hilland. Is it Hilland or Highland?
It's Hilland.
Hilland.
Right.
Where are you from?
Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, New York, and then later
Brooklyn?
Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and there's other. I left so much off. You are in Guyana doing. Weapons have been stolen, and you're involved in that. You alluded to it with the soccer ball.
Right.
There's a million stories.
Yeah, there are.
I don't want to be a spoiler, but I will despoil you that you should spend the next. Go download it now. Go look at it. Did you? And you both spoke on it.
Yes.
Oh, I want to hear the audiobook. I'm gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it again. I'm gonna listen to it now. I read it. Now I'm gonna listen to it.
I am too.
It's worth twice. It
Thanks,
really
Howie.
is. No, thank you for even thinking of me and allowing me to be part of whatever this becomes. And I predict it's going to become something big.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And comment and subscribe. And Sonny and the Black Pack are the band. Kyle, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Wrap it up.
Man, a few words.
Thank you.
Oh, they're good.
That was good.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Look at these guys. They're good.
Get your groove on right now. Watching Howie Mandel. Get your groove on right now. Watching Howie Mandel. John Edward from Long Island. Your loved ones, he can find them back when he was 15. With his cousin giving readings, tarot cards fell off the shelf. Infinite quest to find yourself. Yvonne, plus you gotta try chasing evil with the FBI. Get your groove on right now. Watching Howie Mandel. Get your groove on right now. Watching Howie Mandel. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Jackelyn Shultz.